Good evening, everybody. This is Joyce from B.O Creations. I hope everybody is having a wonderful evening. Let me get us in the proper layout here so that you guys can see what is going on. I hope everybody's having a wonderful evening this evening. Let's see. Here we go. All right, there we are. So I am hoping everybody, hi, Christy. Hi, Lindsay. How are you guys doing today? Hope everybody's having a great day. Christy Ann says, happy Thursday. Welcome to our B.Y.O segment. So I hope you all are having a good evening tonight. I'm going to jump right in tonight because, there we go, because I got kind of a long broadcast tonight. I told you that I was going to, let me see if I can get my comments up here. All right. So I told you all we were going to do a book binding type of class tonight. And I just wanted you to know that when you are making albums or books or, let me get me back up there. There we go. When you are doing albums or books or that kind of thing, there are literally hundreds of ways to do albums. Good evening, Cindy, Lindsay. Thank you so much. Bobby is here. Hello. Jesslyn, how you doing? Who else's Valentine cards are in pieces on their desk? Mine. Who else is probably not going to get them out in time for Valentine's? Me. Oh, well, I guess they'll just be late. I like to tell everybody how much I love them all year instead of just one day. I feel like Valentine's, one of those days that you just need to tell them that you love them every day. How about if we skip Valentine's and don't tell them we love them on Valentine's and then shower them with love every day of the year? I think that would be a better one. All right. So Linda Bosley is here. Jeslyn, Quinta, good evening. Good evening. I see you all putting your hashtag in. So you guys are paying attention to Jennifer's banner down at the bottom. All right. I finally made a Valentine's wreath for the door with the hanger thing, Christy says. All right, Christy. Well, that just means that you're ahead of everybody else. Okay, so how did you guys like Irene on Tuesday night? Isn't she just, I just think the world of her. She is just an absolute wonderful lady. I feel like I have known her my absolute entire life. Just a lot of nice lady. Okay, so tonight, I'm going to give you just a minute while we're talking. So if you have the B.O, let me go ahead and switch my picture here to this camera so that you guys can see. If you guys, let's see. All right, switch. Please switch to this camera. Okay. So if you guys have the B.O, I can do this, right? Yeah. All right. There. Now you can see me with both of these. All right. If you have the B.O die, you're going to need this tonight because I'm going to show you. If you don't, it's okay. You can still, I know she is just the sweetest. Thank you, Kat. Kit Kat. That's kind of cute. If you guys have this die, great. If you don't, well, you can get these. They are B.O.'s own design. And there were several things that I designed about this particular die. And I'm going to show you a couple of them tonight. But if you have this die, great. If you don't, it's okay. It's all right. This is just one way to bind a book. There are millions of other ways, so don't panic. So I'm going to be using this die and just some cereal box, leftover chipboard, whatever you have. I'm going to give you the measurements. It's not a big deal. Okay. This is recorded, so you can always go back and watch us. The measurements for this will be throughout the broadcast. So I will give those to you also. And then, so we're going to be using this. We're going to be using a cereal box. You need a trimmer and you need some tape or glue. Now I recommend, of course, the B.O Creations tape. It is super sticky. It is phenomenally good for mounting, and your books do not fall apart, and everything comes out gorgeous. Hi, Brenda. How are you? Welcome. Leanne, one of our design team members, is on tonight. I didn't see if Diana Noggle was on. She usually is. So, Diana, if you're here, hello. Jennifer Williams is here. Hello, Jennifer. Okay, Lindsay, Christy. All right, I'm not missing anybody. I just want to make sure I said hello to everybody. All right, let's see. Yep, I just want to make sure we have everybody. Okay, good. So I'm going to show you this book that I made. Okay, this book right here can even be, hi, Michelle, how are you? This book can even be made into two different ways as well. So this book right here was made with the BOQ Creations die solely. First timer here from Lake Mary, Florida. Well, Michelle, welcome, welcome. Be sure that you put the word hashtag BOQ, B.Y.O, in the comments so that you can be put in for the drawing. And if you see something that you want, you can just type in add to cart die or add to cart tape or whatever you want, and we will actually compile it and send you an invoice. So you don't even have to navigate from the site. You can just go directly and type add to cart, and it is a commitment to buy. We send you an invoice, and then you can either come pick it up, you can choose that, or you can have it mailed to you. So hey, Brenda, our good friends. Okay, well, nice to have you both on tonight. All right, so like I was saying, this is called a library card page book. Does that make sense? It is a library card because the card is here. See that? And then when you remove the library card, the page itself is made from the library card. So I did want to show you that. And I'm just going to kind of walk you through how easy this book is to make. And of course, there's our little paper clip friend there. I love that. And then I'm just going to kind of show you how to do this. This, like I said, there are two different ways to do this particular. You're welcome, Michelle and Brenda. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Yes. And also, too, you guys, I'm finding that a lot of people do not know how to comment. If you're watching us and you are unable to comment, you actually need to log into your YouTube account, and then it will let you comment. I guess it doesn't let you comment anonymously, so it wants you to have an account. So set up an account, and you can, of course, still watch us. You just can't comment. And, of course, that leaves you out of the running for a prize at the end. So, all right, so I'm going to quit talking and get to work. So this is called a library card page book. And of course, you can do a hidden hinge for these rings, which is it has a binding and the hinge is on the inside. But I figure why make it difficult? Hi, Terry. I figure why make it difficult? I kind of love this fringe, this matching ribbon on the end, and I just love this type of book. It is so easy, and I'm going to show you guys how to make this book. So if you've got your trimmer and a cereal box or some old chipboard, then let's get busy on how to make sure that let me do that so that you guys can see, and let's get busy on our book. So let me give you some measurements on our book here. So that way, if you are joining us tonight and you have this die, you can go ahead and cut out your pockets and your page. If not, while we're doing this, you're going to need to cut out 3 of the large ones in a solid color. And I'm just showing you these. So I have more than 3. I cut out several. So I just cut out a blank piece, like I have a green here. You're going to need to cut 3 of those. And you're going to need to cut 6 pattern papers with the smaller one. This is the smaller rectangle so that they matte beautifully. And I have a hunter's green here today because I figured why not. And of course, I'm using the Cherished Chapters paper. So if you want to die cut those, and then I cut out 6. So you need 6 of these, 3 of these, and 6 of these. Okay. So if you want to cut those out while I am talking about this, if not, you do not have to use this die to create this book. Remember, book binding is about the binding, not about what you put in it. Okay. So that's a whole different ball game. All right. So that's why I love this BOQ die, because it has everything I need on one die. If you don't have this, we do sell them. They are $15.99, and you can get them at BOQ Creations beau.com, or you can say add to cart this evening. Okay, so the measurements I wrote down, here they are. I'm like, where's my measurements? Okay, the measurements are simply this. You're going to take your cereal box or your chipboard or whatever you're using, and you're going to cut it down to 6.5 long by 4 7/8 wide. Okay, so that is what my chipboard looks like. Let me go ahead and grab that. And of course, I just had some mat board that I use for matting, and it's just double-sided. It's got a light green on one side. I hope you can see that. And then the other side is white. So I am just going to use that tonight because it kind of matches the paper. And if you don't have one, then, you know, if you don't have the paper, then you're just going to cover it with whatever paper you want to. Hi, Purple Rose. How are you? I don't know who that is, but just so you can know that we are saying hello. All right, so you're going to cut your cereal box, chipboard, whatever you have, guys. These are so easy because you're going to cover them anyway. So you're going to want this to be 6.5 long in length by 4 7/8. And I know that's kind of a weird number, but there's a reason for that. So 6.5 by 4 7/8. That's your measurement. So if you're cutting that, do I cut it with a guillotine trimmer? So Christy, that's a great question. I'm going to go ahead and answer that right now because you are not the only one who has asked me that question. So let me see if my camera will zoom in a little bit. Let's see if it will. I have this handy dandy little remote control that does not work 99% of the time. So let's see if camera 1 will zoom in. No. Okay. Well, all right. So we're going to zoom in. Let's see if it zooms. I don't know. Let me give you those measurements again. 6.5 by 4 7/8. Go ahead and write that down. And then I'm going to tell you a little trick on how to cut the chipboard so that you're not wearing down your trimmer blade. All right. That's really important. A lot of people say, oh, I have difficulty cutting my chipboard. Well, you know, I've got a way so you can do that. Okay. Let me see if that went picture in picture. Did that go picture in picture? There you go. All right. So 6.5 by 4 7/8. So let me tell you how to cut the chipboard. If you have a trimmer and you're worried that you're not going to be able to cut it very well. My hair is driving me. Hi, Aixa. Okay, now I know who that is. Well, welcome, honey. I'm so glad you're here. Okay, so let's say I have my chipboard. If you're cutting cereal boxes, are we using the inside frame or the outside frame for the solids? Good question, Anne. Solids are with the bigger frame. Prints are with the smaller frame. Okay, so that you want that to matte on the darker color. So yes, great question. You want it to look something like this. So you got the dark one with the bigger one and the print with the smaller. All right, so with your chipboard, I have one of these little Fiskars trimmers. And the thing that you want to do is you want to take your trimmer blade. And let's say, that I'm cutting this chipboard at 4 inches, okay? I'm just picking a number. You're going to take your trimmer blade and you're going to go across the front of it once, okay? Don't keep going back and forth. Just go across it once, and then you remove the chipboard and flip it over like that, and then go over it again. And that will cut your chipboard smoothly, easily, and it will not wear down your blades as bad, because I know a lot of people are afraid to use their blade with chipboard. Hi, Irene. Thank you for joining us today. I just asked everybody how they enjoyed your broadcast. So thank you so much for joining us tonight. We so loved you being on our channel on Tuesday. Thank you so very much. All right. So you can see that, that it just cuts it like butter, and it doesn't wear down your blades and cause your paper to get all jagged and, whatever at the, on the other side of the blade. So that is, hi, Joanne. So that is the way that I cut my chipboard. And of course, if you have one of those We Are Keepers, what you call it, things, the big cutters, you can certainly use that as well. Guillotine trimmers work. But if all you have is the little trimmer, that's how you're going to do it so that you don't get a jagged edge or broken through or whatever. So that is my friendly tip for you for the chipboard. Okay. So, oh, stop, Jesslyn. Stop. All right. So what I'm going to do is I have my 2 pieces of chipboard here with the green side, you can see. And since one side is going to be the back and one is going to be the front, that does not make a difference usually unless you have a printed box, like a Cheez-It box that I think somebody is using. You know, and you don't want that to be seen or, you know, whatever. I don't know. But sometimes it does make a difference. So if you remember that there's going to be a front and back, that becomes important when you're going to punch the holes. Because if you layer them like this, one on top of another, and you punch the holes, when you go to attach that, guess what happens? The holes are now on the wrong side, and you end up having to turn it over like this anyway. So, so just remember that. And we're going to punch our holes out now. I'm going to use my crocodile here, my big hole punching honkin' daddy here. And of course, I have a rose gold one with pink handles. I love it. I do have a teal one too, but this one just happens to be my my fave. Okay, so I'm going to set it on this little dial right here. This just indicates how far in this is going to be. So, and I'm just truly, honestly, I am just going to kind of wing it. So this is 6.5, and half of 6.5 is 3 1/4. Look at that. I can do math tonight. So half of 6.5 is 3 1/4. That only is important if you are, you know, a mathematician. Usually I just go, maybe right there, you know? So half of 3 1/4 is approximately 2 and change, 1 and change. So I'm just going to say, I'm going to hit this at 2 or maybe 1.5. I could do my math, but you know, 1.5 inches in and 1.5 inches in. So 5.5 is an inch, and I'm going to do it at 5. So that's where my 2 holes are going to be. I'm going to put one hole at 1.5 inches and the other one at 5 inches. Okay. So 1 1/2 inch down and 1 1/2 inch up. Okay. So that makes it at 1 1/2 inch and at 5 inches if you're measuring. Okay. So if you're measuring, you know, you might be a little, be a little OCD, but if you're like that, it's okay. Just go 1 1/2 inches down and 1 1/2 inches down, and that's it. Okay. And I'm going to take my little puncher do-jobby here, and I'm going to use the bigger side. And I am just going to go in. I don't think I need a full 1/2 inch. I think I'm going to set this little thing to 1/4 inch. And you can see that that's how far, that little guide there is how far the chipboard will go into the thing there, the cover. And that's only going to be important in a minute because we're going to, and I think I might wait just a second before I do my holes, just because I want you to see what's going to happen with the pockets. Okay. So maybe you can hold off a second on doing your holes. All right. So these are our pocket dies, and I have done them in Hunter's green. So I am just simply folding over my tabs right here, and I'm folding over my pocket. And so basically what we're going to end up doing is we're going to be making the page out of our pocket. So when we do this, you have to make sure that your holes that you punch do not leave your pocket page too far out. Okay. So what we're going to end up doing is putting this piece like this, And so we're going to need to make sure that our holes are far enough in this way. Okay, you follow me? So this all is going to become the page, or I'll show you guys there's two different options. Remember I told you that there's a million different ways to do a book binding. Okay, so what I'm actually going to do is I could make this page and then punch my holes right there, and that's all I would need to do. This would actually serve as my page. Okay, I'm not going to do that tonight, only because I cut my chipboard wide enough to have my pocket stand alone. Do you see that? See how I have chipboard on either side? So I want to make sure that my ring that I put in here is not interfering with the turning of this page. All right. I know I might have lost you here, but just stay with me. Now remember that this is 6.5 by 4 7/8. So if I take the same color paper, which I think is this one. Nope, that's too dark. I grabbed a couple of pieces that were not the same color. Okay. So if I take a piece of paper and I cut my pages to 6.5 by 4 7/8, I may have to cut them down just a little bit, but I want to start there. So I'm going to cut these to 6.5. Come on. I've got two pieces here, so that's why my trimmer is giving me a little bit of a hard time. So I'm going to cut them to 6.5 by 4 7/8. Now you might want to watch for just a second to see what I'm doing. Okay. I'm sorry. It's supposed to be 3 7/8. Is it 3 7/8 or 4 7/8? I cannot remember. Hold on. Because that seems awful long. Okay. It's 3 7/8. Oh my gosh, you guys, I am so sorry. I'm going to join Irene's chaos crew. It's 3 7/8. So sorry. Please change that. 6.5 by 3 7/8. So if you've already cut your chipboard, just cut an inch off. Okay. 3 7/8. I knew that looked a little bit long. Sorry, guys. I am extremely tired today. We had a great show at Stamp Fest. The store is back together, and I am utterly exhausted. All right. So 3 7/8. There we go. And so I am just cutting these to 3 7/8. And you can see how beautifully that leaves you like a little tiny bit of paper left, and there's not very much waste. Okay. So again, let me show you. I'm trying to explain why I'm doing this, because remember I said there were a lot of different ways that you could. I'm just grabbing my tape here, guys. Hold on a second. All right. So this is my B.O. This is our brand, B.O tape. This stuff is strong as anything. I'm telling you, you're going to love it. All right. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to use these pages that I cut the same size as my book cover, right? So these are the same size as my book cover. And I am going to just probably have to trim down 1/8 of an inch, just a little. I hate giving these kinds of measurements because people get nervous and they're like, what? Oh my gosh, what is that measurement? So I'm just going to cut them down just ever so much because I want to be able to leave myself the tiniest little border. And you can see this. Diana, it's okay, Diana. We love you. But you see how tiny of a border I want? I want my pages to be almost the same size as my book. So I cut them the same size as the book, and then I go back and just trim ever so slightly a little bit off. Okay. And it's not even a lot. I would say it's maybe, if we're lucky, it's probably a 1/16 of an inch. I don't measure very well. I just put my line there. See, that's all I'm trimming off. That little bit right there. That is it. Okay. And that's just so that I can see my chipboard. So I guess that would be 3 3. Well, we cut off the 1/16 of an inch. So yeah. So I don't know. I guess it ends up being 3 3/4 when you're finished chopping it all off. Okay. And so now this is going to leave my book page just a little bit less than my cover. You see that? Just the ever so smallest amount. Now, when I punch my holes in these, it's going to punch it out of this too. Okay. But I can still see my border around my chipboard. So that's why I do that, just so that I can make sure that, you know, it's ever so small of a measurement. It's like 1/16 of an inch. You can see that it's not much at all. And then I just take my page and I mark it again, because it ends up being 3 3/4 after you cut that extra paper off. All right. There we go. Well, it's like a 16, like it's just the smallest amount. And I love this Fiskars trimmer because it gives me that wire guide so I can see. But you know, if you have one of those guillotine trimmers, then I'm sure that you can get this small of amount off of yours as well. So I am just making sure that they are all the same size. All right, so just marking that there and there so that I know everybody is the same. Okay, and then after I do this, then I go to matting it. Okay, we go to making the, so the only reason that I do this particular thing is so that I know that my pages are going to get the holes punched in them, and I don't have to worry about whether or not they are punched through my pocket. Okay, so I've got one page, and I just have this ever so slight little bit that didn't cut, 2 pages, and 3 pages. And I might actually do, I told you 3, so we're going to do 3. Okay, so you can see that my pages just barely overlap my book. You know, I have ever so small of a border around it, and that's on purpose so that they're not hanging out of the bottom of the book or off to the side. And I'm actually going to put my pages in between and punch them all at the same time. Remember, we marked those hole punch, those holes on the other side. So that's what I'm going to do, is I'm going to put all of these pages in as I would if they were a book. Okay, just putting them in here. Just make sure that they are matted. You know, you don't want to punch them in the wrong space. If you do, it's not a big deal, guys. It really is not. And here's my back cover. I'm going to line that up, and with my Crop-A-Dial, I can punch all the holes at the same time, and you're going to love this. Watch. See, I already set it, so I can shove that in there, and there's one hole punch. And I have to cut out the little, except I used the wrong side. I want the bigger hole. There we go. And then I have the second hole right here. All right, now, having done that, my front cover and my pages are all lined up, and the holes are where they should be. Does that make sense to you guys? So I've got my 3 pages. There's my 3 pages with the holes in it. And now I can start building my little book. Let me get all this stuff out of the way. All right. We're just going to lay this out over here. To build the pocket, simple, simple. I am going to take my really, really amazing sticky tape here, and I'm just going to put it down on the little wings, if you will. Okay. I'm going to burnish it down with my finger or my bone folder. I prefer to have my bone folder. I don't even know if I have one available. Oh, well, I'll just use my fingers, or the back of my ruler, I guess I could use. I thought I had one over here. That's crazy. I have 10,000 bone folders, and you know what? I can't find a single one of them. Isn't that funny? you know, that's what happens. That is what happens, guys. You know, it is what it is. Okay, so then I'm going to take and fold my wings over, and it's kind of hard. I'm so glad this tape is white because you can see the edges of it, so you can see what I'm doing. I'm just going to remove the white adhesive backing. Anne had called me and said, are we going to use sticky water? No, Anne, this is one of those books that's going to be really simple, and all you need is your tape and your paper. Okay, so just fold any excess tape that is sticking out because you don't want that to interfere with your pocket. So just fold it back on itself. All right, and then you just take and fold your pocket over just like that, and then it's built. Okay, so that is how simple this pocket is to make. Now you're going to need to do 6 of these because you got front and back of this cover. Okay, so I'm going to do 2 of them tonight so that you can see. And this tape tears easily, by the way. Christy said, what's sticky water? So Christy, I coined a phrase for sticky water way back in 2020 when we were during COVID, and I loved using my Yes Paste. It's a combination of water and Yes Paste that is watered down enough to utilize your paintbrush to paint the pages on. And we use that when we are bookbinding or doing a major book overhaul kind of thing. And so I just, oops, I did not train my page there. So now it's giving me a hard time. And so, but it's one of those things that this does not need it. It doesn't require that kind of heavy dutiness, but this tape right here is phenomenal for this use. So we have it in 1/2 inch, 1/4 inch, 1/8 inch, and 3/8 inch. We also have it in sheets as well. So, and I did just restock on this today. So if you are in need of this tape, you have to let me know because we do 165 feet. That is almost double what you get with Sukwing. So, and you can see that it's almost like out of this world sticky, you know, it is like, it's almost like fly paper is what it reminds me of. I don't know why I'm thinking of that, but it's like, look at that. It's like mousetrap sticky. And it is super, super good tape. Maybe when it gets to be really, really famous, we'll have our logo printed on the tape. But until then, we're just gonna do that. Okay, so I will finish my other pockets later. I just want to show you the 2 that I'm gonna do. Now remember the bigger pages that we did, the bigger rectangles that we did. So we're gonna take 2 of those. All right. And I'm going to take this 1/2 inch. What size tape am I using? This is 1/2 inch, Christy. And you know that because inside of the roll here is, well, not on this one, but on the ones that are hanging on the wall, it says 1/2 inch. And we did that so that if you are using the tape and you're not sure whether you've got the 1/2 inch or the 3/8 inch, you'll know because it's written inside of the cardboard there. That's just my little tip to you. Okay, so what we're going to end up doing is we're not going to stick this card all the way in the bottom of the pocket, okay? We are only going to put this card as far down as the top of the page. So in other words, we're going to stick this card into the library pocket. And we're going to put the library pocket onto the page that we did here, okay? And I'm lining it up so that it's nice and even because it's, you know, going to be matted. And I'm going to pull it up just to the edge. And I will tell you what that measurement is in 1 second. The last time I made this, I didn't measure because I didn't realize I was going to be doing it on live. So it is 1 1/4 inch from the bottom. Okay. So you're going to come up 1 1/4 inch roughly if you made your pages the same size as my album. All right. And all I'm going to do is put a piece of this 1/2 inch tape at the bottom. Okay. All right. Now I'm going to, this is important. I'm going to take my release tape and I'm going to create a little tail. Okay. Just like that. So that way, when I stick it down into the pocket, and I'm telling you this because you're going to hate me if you don't, make sure that you put it in tape side down. Okay. So in other words, don't put it like this, because if you put it down in the pocket that way, everything that you put in the pocket is going to stick to it. So you're going to slide that in till you get to that 1 1/2 inch mark. Here's your page, or 1 1/4 inch. You know, just kind of lay your pocket there. I'm telling you guys, this is not a perfect science. Sometimes you have to adjust as you go along. Okay. So I've got that right to the top of my little thing there. And then I'm going to push that down so that my tape is in there. And then I'm going to pull this the rest of the way out and stick it down. So you end up with what looks like this, but the pocket, this piece is not all the way down in there. Okay. And you'll see that as soon as I use the pattern paper. Watch this. If I mat this, look how far this green paper is hard to see, but if you mat it, here's the edge of the pocket right here. So you can see just how far up this big rectangle is. Okay. So I'm going to end up doing something that looks like that. See that? And it just gives your pocket a little more depth if you don't put it all the way to the bottom. All right. So I'm just going to put a piece of this tape on here. There we go. Oops. What happened? It took me into the big mode. There, I can't see the comments anymore. All right, there we go. So does anybody have any questions thus far? Any questions thus far? Okay, so I am going to put this in. If you're using glue, it gives you a little bit of time, a little wiggle room, but also if you don't press down the tape, it will give you some wiggle room as well. All right, so now you've got the pocket and an extended, you know, like here's the edge of the pocket, you have an extended rectangle. So I am going to put a piece of tape down both sides. Okay, just like that. There we are. Peel off your tape. Of course, I could use my B.O pokey tool, but it's right there and I haven't gotten it yet. I should use it because it's just tearing up my thing. All right, here we go. Doo-doo-doo. Now, this is my page with the holes, and I am just going to layer this, mat it on there. Don't worry about where the holes are because we can always go back and repunch those, but I just wanted you to know the difference between the actual page and the page that we're using the library card. And so now I can just turn it over and rinse and repeat. Okay, so let me take this off of there. So nice of my colors to have really nice stickers that come off very easily. How nice of them to do that. Okay, so now here's the back side of my page. I'm going to do the same thing again. Now, could you go ahead and just glue the back pocket, you know, the pocket on first? Absolutely. Whichever way is more easy and convenient for you. You do you, boo. So I'm going to layer that pocket on there if you want to do that. And then you can take your card and slip it in there until it matches the top of your page. You see what I'm saying? So you can do it any way that you feel comfortable with. If you want to do it like this, because ultimately you're going to be sticking the tape down there anyway, you know what? You do you. I want you to feel as comfortable as you can building your journal, okay, or your album or whatever you're going to use. Now, again, the only reason I punched the holes in this was so that you guys could tell the difference between the page and the page that we are creating with the pockets, okay? I want my comments are not rolling here, okay? Are we still on? Are you guys? It looks like we're still on. Okay. So just because I want to make sure that my holes are still somewhat visible, I'm going to go ahead and punch them. I would usually wait until the end to do this, you know, but because you guys are on the live broadcast, I want to make sure that, you know, we've punched it through exactly where it needs to be. There we go. I hate when the little things don't fall out of the, little chomper dial, you know, the little, there we go. There we go. And then I'm just going to end up punching that hole all the way through, and that is totally okay. All right. Do you see the holes now? Christy's like, we're concentrating. All right. So I'm going to take my second piece of paper. I think I'm going to use this one. And I'm going to insert that, and it fits beautifully on that mat. Okay. So these are all like pages that you can build. I'm just going to put a piece of my tape. So I've showed you two different ways to build this pocket so far. And I'm just going to put a sticky piece of tape on the back of here. And there we go. Let's lift that off. I want to, while I'm doing this, I want to also let you know that the March calendar is in process right now. And you guys are definitely going to want to check out the calendar, because at the end of March, we are going to be doing the album that Diana Noggle made with our beau Cherished Chapters paper, and it will be online. Okay, it will be. Jeslin's watching and drinking. Yes, yes, you might be having a little vino because Joyce is making you crazy. So, but the whole point behind this is that these are your pages right here, and it flips over and you've got a pocket page. So now this has actually become your page. All right. So it's called a library pocket page, because library card pocket page, because here's the library card pocket and it fits the library card down inside. Okay. And I will show you what I mean right now. Okay. So these are a product that we sell here at the store. They are these gorgeous library cards, and they have little library prints at the bottom, and it's kind of a vintage feel to it. And I'm just going to zhuzh this up a little bit because, of course, you know, the other pages are simply just pages that you're going to add in here. But we have this gorgeous stamp from Stampers Anonymous. And it has like the dates right here. I love that. I love that it has like a checkout thing, you know. And so I'm going to use, let me get my rings out. I'm going to use my Vintage Photo Distress ink. This is my favorite brown color. And I am just, this is the first time I'm using this stamp, so there is no ink damage on it at all. Okay. And I am not even going to use a block. I am just going to lay this puppy on here and stamp it with my hand. Hi, Bethany. How are you? Okay. I'm just going to stamp it with my hand. And there I've got some due dates that make it look kind of used. I really like that look. And that's going to be my library card that I fit down into that pocket. So this is a gorgeous stamp that we have from Stampers Anonymous. And we do have these in stock. They are $29.99. Whoops, get back on there, stamp. Let me turn that over so you guys can see. And it has like dates that you can put in your journal. It has letters. It has a typewriter. I think that's really, really cool. And then it has a like old map. So this is great for books and such. So, you know, if you need to have that in your life, we have that here in our studio. So now I'm going to focus on my journal cover now that I've showed you the page. Okay. And I'm going to focus on my cover because, again, you know, I made the cover like that for a reason. All right. So I'm just going to trim off this little. There we go. And I'm using my Do Not Touch B.O scissors. They belong to B.O and they even have my name on it. And look at my new little scissor charm, guys. This is the bookworm. And he's got a little pair of glasses on. Ain't that the cutest? So, all right, so here's my cover, and I'm going to go cover to cover with my paper. I really do not want, I don't know, maybe I want that little bit of a border. What do you guys think? Do you think it looks okay with that border? You think we should put a little tiny border around that? You think so? I don't know. I kind of like that. I kind of like that it's got that little bit of green around it. I know Leanne's like, yay, green. Green is Leanne's favorite color. I think I'm going to do that. I think I'm going to put that little bit of border around there. See, isn't this fun? Crafting together like this. I miss this. This used to be our jam during 2020. We would get together and it would be hours. We're not going to be hours tonight, but I do want to show you how to complete the book so that when you are working on this after we get off the broadcast, you're going to feel successful about doing this. Okay, so there is my piece. All right. So now I've got a little bit of that kind of lime green color on the outside of my book. I kind of like that. What do y'all think? Do you like that little bit of matte? Yeah. Leanne's like, love the green. And of course, I'm going to use my my B.O tape here. All right. So, you know, some people say, how do you maneuver that tape so easily? Well, let me show you. If you take your roll of tape and put it through your hand, whichever hand you are, left-handed or right-handed, and use your thumb to kind of create a tape dispenser of sorts, you can hold it like this, put your finger, and then tear against your finger. So that is how I do. And then I put my thumb through and it's right on my hand. So I don't even put it down on the table. Okay, I'm going to take off my tape. If you're a glue adhesiver, then you know what? It's okay. I won't hold that against you. I kind of bounce back and forth between, you know, tape and glue. And sometimes I use the glue. Sometimes I use the tape. And that's just me. Okay. That's just me. But you do you. That is perfectly okay. All right. So now I need to punch my holes again. This is why I usually wait till the end to punch my holes until I get it all together. But because I wanted you guys to see where the holes were, that's why I punched them out. But, you know, you do it your way. Okay. So now I've got my cover, my back cover. I'm going to do the front cover the same exact way. I have another piece of paper over here. And I think it might already be within the, maybe just a little tiny bit needs to come off. Hey, I am. I'm on live. It's okay. Everybody say hi to Eunice. They can't hear you. They're saying hi on the thing.
You can see me.
Yeah. Huh? No, they can't see you, but they can hear you. Everybody, my wonderful pharmacist Eunice is here. My drug dealer. You want to say hello? Come over here. Look at this beautiful lady, you guys. Look at her. There you are right there. See?
Oh.
You see? See all these people? They're saying hello.
Oh, hello.
Look, see. Hi, Eunice.
Ooh, hello.
See, you're a superstar now. This is the lady that makes me smile every day. Yes. Are you leaving for the evening?
Yeah, I just asked you to say hello to me.
Okay. Well, thank you for coming by. We're
You're
making
welcome.
a book.
Don't work hard.
Yes.
Work smart.
Work smart. Smarter, not harder. All right. Have a good evening. Thank you. Yes. All right. So I'm just going to do my front cover here so that you guys can see. She was like, oh, I'm sorry. It's okay. Just come in and say hi, right? All right. So here is my tape dispenser. You guys can see how I'm just pushing that against my finger. And my tape is always at the ready. You guys will get used to that the more books that you do. I hate putting it down just because I always, I don't even know what time it is. It's 7:52. Okay, I'm trying to keep us under an hour, guys, but I'm not getting there today. All right. There we go. Now I'm going to put that down just so that we can have our little border. Look at that. Isn't that cool? I don't know what possessed me to use Hunter's Green tonight. That seems like a really nice color, only because the paper, we've been using craft, we've been using blue, and I'm just kind of tired of seeing the blue. So I thought, well, maybe tonight I'll go for green. Or Leanne might have been sending me green vibes. I don't know. Her and Eunice have something in common. They both love green. All right. So you can see now that my two covers match. See that? The holes line up. Here's my card. Now, I don't just leave the card blank. I want to show you guys. We got these in. Unfortunately, we did not get them in time for Stamp Fest. So that means yeah, Diana loves this tape. So that means that you guys get first crack at these. But look at these paper clips. They are gold and copper, and they're in the shape of books with hearts. Isn't that cool? So you get 2 copper and 2 gold, and in a pack for $2.99. So I'm going to put one on my cover here on my little pocket. Let me turn it over. I'm going to put it right here on this little pocket here, or I might even put it on my card. Let's see. There we go. How cute is that? And it's going to go right there in my little pocket. And of course, you could put tags in here. You could do whatever you want. If you guys want to add these to cart, we'll make sure that you get them. All right. And then I'm going to put the rest of my pages together because my holes line up. There we go. Even though I do not have them all done, you guys get the picture. And then I've got my front cover and I've got my back cover. And then all you do is take one of these D-rings, and I like to use the bigger ones because, of course, I'm going to put lots of pages, and they're all going to alligator mouth. So I've got these rings in stock. There we go. And I do them in a pack of 8. Hi, Connie. How are you? I do them in a pack of 8. That way, if you're doing books, there's no, you usually use 2, and there's no, oh, you know what? I didn't. Look at that. I just lined everything up and put my cover on the back and my back on the front. Isn't that funny? See, I got to talking and didn't even think. Okay. Put my card back in there. There we go. And you can see some of the paper above your card. So let's put my book cover back on. There we go. And then I can line up my clippies. There we go. All right. And that, my friends, is your book. The more the pages are done, obviously this is only 1 page. So the more pages you put in there, The smaller rings you use, the bigger rings, you fit more pages, because I just want to show you that I used the smaller rings. And by the time that I got my 3 pages in there, you see those? By the time I got my pages in there, my book was kind of thick. But you know what? I kind of like it that way. If that's the way you like it, then you do you. I'm not here to judge. So I am just going to take a piece of our Cherished Chapters paper and put it right there on the cover so that it looks somewhat finished. Somewhat. Let me find one that I think I like here. Let's see if I have another 6x6. Oh, I do. Ooh. All right. And you can see that this will fit beautifully. I've got maybe 1/4 of an inch off to the side here, and I'm just going to make that the same over here on this side, and then take a smidge off of that so that it is all. I'll give you this exact measurement in a second for those of you that are measurement people. There's nothing wrong with being a measurement person. I don't hold it against you. I just am more of a mark and cut person. How about y'all? Are you guys a mark and cut person, or are you a measure it, I want to know what the exact measurement is kind of person? For those of you that are exact measurements, it is 3 1/4. 3 1/4 wide by, let me cut that little piece off and I will tell you how long. It's probably 6. It's probably 5 7/8. So you just take 1/8 of an inch off of your piece of paper. Okay. And then that is going to be the cover piece on my book. See that? And look how beautiful that is. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that. Oh, eyeball it. I'm a hybrid. It depends on the project. I'm a measurer. So if you are a measurement type of person, then, it's really good that Irene gave us all the measurements for our, for our book stuff last night or Tuesday night on the live. So Irene, thank you so much for being a measurement person, because that detail for me is just something that escapes me. I'm not a math person. All right. So I'm just going to slide that in there till I think it looks beautiful. Now, can you do anything else with this? Of course you can. I just suggest that you put your corners on there, because those corners just finish the whole look of the book. And I'm going to show you those in just a second. We have these. My hands are so dirty. We have these corners, and I love them on the corner of my book. I just put them on like that, and what a finished look that gives that book. Isn't that cute? So I put one on each corner, just like that, and you can press down with a plier if yours doesn't fit right. But I can tell you that as soon as I put my paper on the inside of this, that those corners are going to fit snugly and beautifully. So that just add some ribbon and some fluff or some fabric strips, whatever you want to on this. And you have a library pocket. Oh, I forgot the one thing that I was going to put on there. Before we get on to the giveaway, I'm just going to take my fussy cut sheet here and my wonderful fussy cut scissors. And I am just going to fussy cut my little way around this book stack here, which is so gorgeous. All right, there we go. And for those of you that do not really fussy cut all that well, I want to tell you that these scissors are the most fabulous scissors for fussy cutting, and it makes the job so easy. Because you just move the paper in the scissors, and it's just that great. It's that simple. I have my distress ink here, and I am just going to, of course, I never do this with my ink pad. I hate doing this with my ink pad, but tonight it's necessary. you know. And I am just going to adhere this right here on the bottom, and maybe I can put a couple of flowers or something there, and that's all I'm gonna, all I'm gonna do. I can put that there. I can put a piece of paper, whatever I want. I can put a strip, whatever you want, guys. That is totally up to you. So I just wanted to say that you can embellish it with the fussy cut apart sheets. Okay. So does anybody have any questions before we move on to the business, which is the book and the prize giveaway? Does anybody have any questions, comments, concerns, good of the order? Whatever you would like. Let's see. I see everybody so stinking cute for those book lovers. You know what I found out? There are a lot more book lovers out there than I thought there were. I thought there were a lot of coffee lovers, but I was wrong. I think the book lovers are more prevalent than the coffee lovers. I don't know. We'll have to see when we get that gorgeous book coffee paper out. So I am just doing this. Okay. So please make sure that you put your hashtag in. Do we need to bring anything tomorrow night? No, Jeslyn. Well, unless you want to bring your scissors and maybe a trimmer. If you want to, just because, if you don't like to share, then bring your own. Scissors and trimmer. That's always fun. And then so if you guys want to go ahead and finish putting in the hashtag for beau Creations, we are going to go ahead and do the drawing. So Jennifer, if you're there, I'm going to turn it over to you. And we will call this a wrap this evening. I love the book paper, even though I'm a coffee kind of girl. Well, don't you worry, Cindy. We'll have your coffee paper out sometime. We can't hear you, Jen. Do I have to add you to the stage?
Nah, I'm here. Looking a little rough tonight. Don't feel
Sorry.
good.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did Pat give it away?
That's okay. I don't know. No, everybody in my family's been sick. Everybody at work's been sick. So it's just.
Oh, honey, I'm sorry you feel like that.
It's just that time. So
yeah. Happy
anyway,
days.
I did play along tonight. I didn't quite make what you made. There's that little book that I think you said Leanne had made. And so I was excited to set aside some time. And so I made that little book that she had made using the little pocket dies. You probably can't really see it. But
yeah, that's coming up on our docket.
Yeah, so that's what I made tonight. So yes, I was in theme, but not quite there. And I used my Cherished Chapters paper, as you can see.
Yes.
So yeah, slightly in theme. So for those of you who are crafting along with us tonight, one of the things that you'll want to do is take a picture of what you're working on. It doesn't have to be the best picture. It doesn't have to be, a professional shot or anything like that. Just snap a picture of it and upload it to our beau crew. We want to see what you made because everybody, wants to share and, get inspiration from each other. So I am on the beau page right now. The place that you're going to want to upload this, if you're on the beau page, if you go to where it says media, and there is an album. So I'm going to click on the album. And there's an album for B.Y.O bookbinding February 12th. Just click on that album and then you can add your photos. So it lets you upload your photos, and we will not have that same problem that we had last time where the photos weren't actually going there. We need to figure out how to approve it. We did, and it worked. And so, yeah, so we'd love to see your photos, and anybody who uploads their photos by next Tuesday at noon will be entered into the drawing on Tuesday night when we go live again. So please upload your photos. We want to see what you made. Maybe you didn't make the exact same thing. Even if you didn't do the exact same thing Joyce did, if you made something a little bit different, a variation, a different binding technique, we'd love to see it. So please feel free to upload it.
You know, they don't, I don't think that sometimes people realize how important it is to take a picture of what they're doing. We had so many people at Stamp Fest go, oh, there was this on your page. And I'm going, I didn't do that. I really don't know what you're talking about. And they pulled up the BOQ crew. And sure enough, it was by one of you guys that had posted your picture, and they wanted to recreate what they had seen. So you guys don't realize how important your inspiration and what you created is to other people. So please, please, please put your pictures up there and let us see what you're working on. It helps us to be able to bring you better content.
Yeah. And look what, I don't know if you saw this today, Joyce, but look what Liz posted on the BOQ crew.
Yes.
She used the coffee cups from the new paperclip die. She actually cut off the paperclip part and used the coffee cup part of it, which is really cute.
Well, actually, Liz is going to be with us doing that very thing on our live on the 10th of like the 10th of March or the second.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so she's going to be showing us a couple of things with that. So
that's awesome. Yeah, look what she did. This one has a coffee bean stencil, it looks like. She used the library pocket as a place to hold a gift card inside of the card, which is very cool. So yeah, anyway, sorry, I digress. I just thought it was really cool. I saw it there. I thought it was really cool. You ready to do a drawing, Joyce?
Yes, I am. That's just proof that those clips are not just for paper clips. So
I know. I guess we're going to get into paper clips more in March, but yeah, the inspiration is starting to flow in.
Already flowing.
So what are they going to win tonight?
They're going to win this book, this completed book. Yes, some lucky person is going. I hope they like green because there's a lot of it.
Yeah, I like that dark green. It contrasts well with the paper, with the cherished chapter.
It does. It brings out that blue right there in this, like this kind of greenish blue here. It's really gorgeous.
Yeah.
So let's see.
You ready? Let's see.
All right, let's see. I love when it goes through all the things and it starts to slow down. You think it's going to be one person, and then, oh, there it goes to the next person. All right, Jesselyn. Woo, that means I got to finish this tonight, Jesselyn, because you're going to be here tomorrow. So congratulations. Congratulations, Jesselyn. You're going to win this book completed. So that all you got to do is put whatever you want to do inside of your little pockets here. So congratulations.
Congratulations.
Yes. And Jennifer, I hope you feel better. I'm sorry you don't feel well.
Thank you. Well,
yeah, that's no fun. So if you guys need any of these clips, if you need the die, if you need any of you should see how much paper ephemera, book ephemera that we have here at the store. We tried to give you all the things with this Cherished Chapters collection. So, if you get a chance, come up here to the store, check us out at beauqcreations.com. And we'll see you guys next Tuesday.
Yep, next Tuesday.
I had to think about that. Yes, next Tuesday. Not a question. We will see you next Tuesday. How about that? Statement, exclamation point. All right, guys. Have a great evening, and we'll see you next Tuesday. Congratulations again, Jessa, and we'll see you tomorrow. Bye, guys.
Bye.